Coming up on today's REAL-Eyez Destiny Radio show.
We're in the College of Engineering. We're always innovating and creating new ways to share information. Actually, one of the ways that I do that is I bring about 50 students for 7 Saturdays to learn about engineering, the liberal arts college or the nursing college. I'm talking about these kinds of issues, letting them know that we need to reach out to the community and make a difference in the community.
Closer to my dreams.
She's the author of the highly sought-after goalie coaching system, who is passionate about helping seasoned entrepreneurs become unstuck in their thinking, abilities, and revenue. She's a coach, author, and speaker who has sharpened her ability to stretch the vision, mission, and goals of those strong enough to withstand the journey of entrepreneurship. As the founder and visionary of Collette Portis & Co., Collette Portis is a business coach with 20-plus years of experience helping clients think big, strategize for success, and increase revenue. Collette's mission is to change the lives of whole families because winning is the only option. This is the REAL-Eyez Destiny Radio show.
Welcome to REAL-Eyez Destiny Radio with Collette Portis. And I am excited to have Dr. Stephen Jones on the show today. Dr. Jones is the Associate Dean of the College of Engineering at Villanova University. He has had 13 years at Drexel University as the director of the Success Act 101 program and is currently the president of SAJ Publishing and Education Consulting. In addition to that, everybody, he is also an author. And here I am thinking I am the hardest working person on the planet, but obviously I have some competition for the number one spot with Dr. Jones. How are you today, sir?
I am fantastic and blessed.
That's right. I like it.
Yes. So I really was anticipating this opportunity because there's so much information that I think that we can share around entrepreneurship and education. That's a whole nother side of it. I always tell students there are many, many different aspects of entrepreneurship, whether you're talking about working for a company or working for a nonprofit or for-profit. There's many elements of it.
Absolutely. Well, tell us a little bit about SAJ Publishing and Education Consulting and how that came to be.
Well, for me, it came into being because as one that's worked with several different schools and colleges, I found that a lot of students were dropping out of high school and dropping out of college, and I wanted to make a difference in that. So even though I was actually there working every day, 9 to 5, I wanted to do something bigger. So I decided to start my own company so that I can then go out and reach more students and help more students through actually providing workshops and also help parents through providing these workshops. And then out of that, there was this desire for me to write some books. I wrote a scholarship book as well to help students. So it's been a passion, but I want to equip students to be successful, not just talk at them, to give them something that will motivate them to be the best that they can be.
One of the things that you said that I think is so super important, one is you wanted to do something bigger, but two, the bigger came as a result of what you were already doing. You found an issue in the market that you could resolve, and then you developed a company around resolving that issue, which I think is so super important when you're talking about entrepreneurship, because at the end of the day, all an entrepreneur is a problem solver, and resolution comes through solving problems. So would you have considered yourself, in your role every day at the universities, an entrepreneur, or have you even heard that concept before?
Oh, yes. And we promote that. Of course, we're in the College of Engineering, so we're always innovating and creating new ways to share information. So actually, one of the ways that I do that is I bring about 50 students for 7 Saturdays to learn about engineering, and then I'm spreading that throughout the university. So as a person that networks with the Business College or the liberal arts college or the nursing college, I'm talking about these kinds of issues and letting them know that we need to reach out to the community and make a difference in the community.
one of the things that I like that you said is this whole concept around, even though it's the College of Engineering, the thought process around being an entrepreneur, because oftentimes as an engineer, or especially if you have a trade or something like that, 9 times out of 10, that leads you to be an entrepreneur as opposed to working inside of someone's company and being a hired employee. So I think that's definitely an important conversation to have. Let me ask about your journey, Dr. Jones. So when you set out to start SAJ, Publishing and Education Consulting, tell me, who did you think you were at the beginning of your journey?
Well, I really knew that I had a passion for the community. I know that working on a college campus can kind of isolate you from that connection. So who was I? I was that person that wanted to bridge the gap between the university and the community so that there'd be more connections and more opportunities for students who live in the inner city. That's really kind of what drove my passion, is that I realized that many students have gifts and talents, but they're just not exposed to the higher levels of education so they can go further. And so I think that's my driving force, that I want to make a difference in the lives of those who've never been exposed to college. And they'll be the first, in some families, they'll be the first person to even graduate from high school, nonetheless go to college. And so we deal with that, and you look at that reality, and the frightening experience that it might be that I'm the first person going to college, there needs to be someone to fill that gap. And so these early conversations, working with the parents and the students before they get to that environment, I think is critical.
So you're working in the university, you discover that there is a need to be met. And so you start the business. What did you think your journey would be like as far as the business is concerned?
That's a good question. So originally, because I was so spread out in higher education, especially throughout Pennsylvania, I thought that a lot of the programs like mine, because the state of Pennsylvania Act 101 program for low-income first-generation college students was across Pennsylvania. So I thought that those would be my initial customers, because I know what type of student that they're working with. But I found out that I literally had to go outside the state and work with other groups, Gear Up programs, Upward Bound, Talent Search around the country, and then come back to my state with that credibility. I was expecting to be the ones, but sometimes you got to reach out and go beyond your own state.
Dr. Jones, let me tell you something. That right there is so important to the journey. One of the things that I say all the time is in entrepreneurship, there are no elevator, there are only stairs, and everybody has to take the stairs. Everybody. It doesn't matter what resources you come into the game with. It doesn't matter how much money you have. Everybody has to take the stairs. And one of the things that we think is our circle of influence is going to be our initial customer, but we very soon find out that they are not. I'm a believer in the word, and the word says a prophet has no honor in his own home.
Amen.
And so you're absolutely right. The stuff that I could do in Pennsylvania, I can't do in Texas just because they're already familiar with me. And I think it's so important that entrepreneurs understand that those around you and those who are directly connected to you are not your initial customer. Do they have value? Yes, they have value. But they have value because you want to talk to them about connecting with the people they're connected with, not necessarily connecting with them and having them be your customer. Would you agree with that?
I agree with that. And I also felt that nothing was going to stop me from this mission. Even though it is a company, but it has a mission at the same time to help prepare more young people for success in life and success academically as well. So whether they were going to support me or not, I was going to make this happen. And I'm looking at the future of these young people and the types of jobs that are about to happen, for example, whether they'll be prepared to do those kinds of jobs. You know, we talk about autonomous cars, the number of robots, artificial intelligence. All of these things are going to affect our young people's future, and they need to be prepared for that.
You're listening to REAL-Eyez Destiny Radio with Collette Portis, and our guest today, Dr. Stephen Jones, and we'll be right back after this.
Closer to my dreams.
Download the TuneIn app to your phone and listen to Tap the Mic Radio in your car. TuneIn.com and Tap the Mic Radio. We're on.
TapTheMicRadio.com.
Take 10 for Boston's 10. Take Phil and Shannon to go.
Take live streaming breaking news.
Take 10 and get your news local and live.
Download the NBC 10 Boston app today. Boston's 10. News to go.
Chicago Med, Fire, and PD are all together on the same night. The city of heroes, united as one.
We answer this call together.
Chicago Wednesdays on NBC.
If you have questions or comments about today's show, go to Tap the Mic Radio on Facebook and leave your comment or question, and we'll be sure to answer or respond. And we'll be right back after this.
Tap the Mic Radio Network. We're on.
Hi, this is Gail Scott Key of Gail Scott Key's Entertainment Now and the brand new Tap the Mic Radio Network. This is a show where we showcase some of your favorite stars from the past, future, and now. So tune in every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, and on Saturdays at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. Tap the Mic Radio Network. We're on.
Welcome back. You're listening to REAL-Eyez Destiny Radio with Collette Portis. And Dr. Jones was just telling us about nothing's going to stop him from reaching his goal as far as his business is concerned. Dr. Jones, let's talk about that a little bit. At what point in your journey did you really go, you know what, okay, I'm not quitting. Nothing's going to stop me. I'm moving forward. Because typically there's that time where you kind of double dutch back and forth and you go, okay, I'm in, I'm out. I'm in, I'm out. I'm in, I'm out. This is hard. I'm out. Okay, I can't stop. But then there comes the day where you go, you know what? Nothing's going to stop me. Tell us about when that happened.
For me, it happened when I started doing a lot more seminars with the parents, and I realized how much information that the parents didn't have. If the school had several counselors, teachers, they still were often missing a lot of information that would help them to make some good decisions about their young person's future. They still needed to understand the value of reading to your child, of exposing them to different things in life, taking them outside of the community. They still need that kind of information, and it kind of drove me to ensure that as I'm looking at parents, I realized that each parent might have 2 or 3 children. Now I'm not only affecting that parent, but I'm affecting 3 other lives that will affect 3 other lives. And so it's that bigger picture of, even though it's one person in front of me, they represent several people and several families.
Would you say that that's the most rewarding part of the journey?
It is really rewarding. I'll tell you, just because I've been in this long enough now, the really rewarding part is that I now have students that I've worked with over the years who are bringing me their children who are now on their way to college. So that is the tremendous reward, to see that next generation going to that same place and having different types of academic desires, maybe even bigger desires than their parents have, because their parents might have been the first person going to college, but now they have a bigger vision for themselves.
Yes. And one of, what happens oftentimes, 50% of small businesses fail in the first 5 years. That's just the reality of what it is. Overall, 95% fail. And that failure for me is quitting. If you hit a road bump and then you keep moving, to me, that's not failure. You hopefully have learned a lesson. However, oftentimes when we talk about going into business for ourselves, a lot of the talk is about the financial piece and becoming wealthy, and all of that is great, and that's a bonus. But would you agree that the greatest of this is actually seeing your work in action and how your work has actually changed lives? And then the cherry on top is the residual income that you get as a result of having your work impact the lives of those that you've come into contact with?
You're absolutely right. It's that I get daily contacts either through Facebook, through phone calls, through emails that remind me of the seeds that I've been planting and the harvest that's coming forward because of the seeds that I planted. And sometimes, even in my experience and talking to people about, okay, now you have your bachelor's degree, you should go for your master's degree or doctorate degree. Sometimes I'll walk away from that conversation and I'll see that person a few years later and say, you know what, you had that conversation about me getting that master's degree and I got it, or that doctorate degree and I got it. And it's like, wow, I was just planting the seed. And people move forward. So your words are powerful as a business owner. The things that you're saying to yourself and the things that you're saying to others. There's that scripture that says death and life is in the power of the tongue. So you want to speak life to your business, speak life to others, and they'll be reminded of that even as they're looking for someone to consult with, someone to provide resources to them. They will remember that.
And from one fellow educator to another, as my master's and my doctorate are both in education, I have always been an educator all my life. When we played school, when I was young, listen, we were serious. They had homework and everything. They stopped wanting to play school with me because I was too serious about it. But as educators, those who share information with others want to do that, have the desire to do that, and find joy in doing that. The impact that we have on the lives of other people lasts a lifetime. I found my 6th grade teacher, and I'm 42 years old. I found my 6th grade teacher on LinkedIn and sent him a message and told him about the trip to Chicago that he took us on when I was in 6th grade. It impacts my life to this day. It's impacted my son's life to this day. And I think as entrepreneurs, there's that piece as well, especially if you're the kind of entrepreneur who makes it a point to educate your customer, educate your client, make sure they're informed that carries on from you didn't impact one life, you've impacted lives for a generation because knowledge is transferable. And oftentimes we will do that. Let me ask you this. So we're speaking to Dr. Jones, who is the Associate Dean of the College of Engineering at Villanova University and the President of SAJ Publishing and Education Consulting. And we're talking about the transfer of knowledge from one generation to the next. Let me ask this, Dr. Jones. When you came into the journey of entrepreneurship and you started actually working and seeing your work move forward and impact lives, who did you discover that you were through the journey?
I discovered that I had a greater passion for ensuring that students, and I'm talking about engineering now, that students understood what engineering is, and that would drive some of the students that have passion in science and math into engineering. Because the number of African American engineers that graduate every year is only 5%.
Wow.
And all of these jobs that are about to come out have some type of technology behind them. So we need a lot more young people that are driven and prepared in those areas. And I think that brought that out of me. That, wow, this is really, I've had this mission, but this is a big mission. I'll give you just a quick example. Now they're practicing, I think it's Domino's Pizza, is actually delivering pizzas with an autonomous car. So it'll pull up to the house, no one's in it. The person will come out and get the pizza, and it'll drive back to where it came from. So what kind of jobs, what kind of preparation will people need to do to keep those cars functioning, to keep them protected from cybersecurity? So those are kinds of things that I'm thinking like big picture. This is what my business has drove me to that whole level of you're an entrepreneur, but there's a bigger picture for the community.
So what your discovery about yourself was that your work is not just work, but it is actually, it's big to the world, and it's not just, just what I do every day.
Right. There's a mission behind it. It's not just I'm trying to sell some books and sell some workshops. There's a mission that I want to accomplish with it. And I do tell anyone that I present to, you can still call me as long as I'm here and alive. You can still call me or email me. It's not just me selling you a book. It's someone that's passionate about your success. And I've been able to encourage a lot of adults to go back to get their GEDs and to go toward their bachelor's degree as well. So it's had that impact.
Okay. We're talking to Dr. Jones, who's the president of SAJ Publishing and Education Consulting on REAL-Eyez Destiny Radio with Collette Portis. If you have questions or comments about today's show, go to Tap the Mic Radio on Facebook and leave your comment or question, and we'll be sure to answer or respond. And we'll be right back after this.
Coming up.
Tell me about what your greatest accomplishment has been on this journey.
And
if you could leave the new or aspiring entrepreneur with one word or a quote, what would it be?
But you never choose to walk away.
Tap the Mic Radio Network. We're on.
Hey, this is DJ Colossus. Join me Friday night, 7 to 11 Eastern Standard Time for the Mix Show Federation, getting you ready for the weekend. Join me as we ride the waves of top music across the board, pumping out positive vibes to start your weekend ride. Only on tapthemicradio.com. We're on.
Hi, this is Maury Moreland Morrison, here to tell you Geico has more than just great savings. Much more. Geico's been around for more than 75 years, back when they were using Morse code. Sorry, that's just my sense of humor. What's more, with Geico, you get 24/7 access to licensed agents on the app, online, or over the phone, so you can talk to them at night or in the morning. So forevermore, just know that no other auto insurer has more than Geico. More power to you. Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
Because we are all shiny object people.
We're talking to Dr. Jones, who's the president of SAJ Publishing and Education Consulting on REAL-Eyez Destiny Radio with Collette Portis. Tell me when you're looking for a mentor, what are you looking for in a mentor?
Excellent. I'm looking for someone that I see as a leader that has wisdom to share. I'm looking for someone that's patient and a good listener of the one that I have, and maybe trailblaze in some of those areas that could prevent me from going through some of the same things that they went through. And so I'm looking for that level of wisdom in that person that's going to mentor me.
How did you even get here? Because I'm pretty sure that, as a young lad, you weren't thinking, I'm going to be the associate dean of the College of Engineering, and I'm going to be the president of SAJ Publishing and Education Consultant, and I'm going to be an entrepreneur, and I'm going to have my own business. How did your journey even begin? Like, how did you even get to this place outside of your role in the school? I mean, you've shared with us, how you've worked in the schools and you discovered this, but it takes much more than that to be an entrepreneur, because all day, every day, we can identify where there is an issue that needs to be resolved. But how did you get to a place? What about you said, I'm going to step out on my own and I'm going to go do this and I'm going to go resolve this issue?
Well, even though I was working at the university, I would go out into community, to schools. I would do presentations. I would talk with parents. I would, in our church, we had a number of programs that we did for the youth and for parents. So I was always in that area and constantly seeing the gaps in information and preparation. I was seeing students go off to college and come back the first year that they had dropped out. So now they have student loans that they can't pay back, that they don't have a degree. And I was really frustrated with that, and just talking to some of the students who basically a lot of the children give up around 3rd, 4th grade on education itself. So how can I be a part of motivating? I think all those things had an impact on me and drove me to continue this work. And as I saw others starting to engaged in consulting work, and that kind of gave me the confidence that I could do it as well. But I wanted to do it from a different perspective, hearing what they were doing, recognizing that there's a lot of parents and students that don't have the adequate preparation, and that with a little additional help, that could make a difference for them. So I think all those factors, even I want to go back even earlier in my younger life as a teenager, we had a community activist that got us really involved in helping other young people to be successful as well. I think that drove me to later in life say, I want to do this and make this a life passion. And I can truly say that I found my passion. And like some people say in life, man, it took me to 40 years old to find out what I wanted to do with my life. And I can't say that. I can say that from my teenage years, I found my passion and just got bigger and bigger and opened up more doors and try to stay focused on that.
We're talking to Dr. Stephen Jones on REAL-Eyez Destiny Radio. And before we let you go, I have a couple more questions. What would you say your greatest accomplishment has been thus far on your journey as an entrepreneur?
My greatest accomplishment has been selling 40,000 books and helping more students to graduate from high school and college. Those numbers are now in the thousands that I've been able to help graduate and start careers and raise families. And those have been so exciting to actually be here and alive to witness the outcome of all the work and all the seeds that are planted.
If you could leave the new or aspiring entrepreneur with one word or a quote, what would it be, Dr. Jones?
That would be plan your work and work your plan. As you're starting a business, you need to actually write down a business plan and have specific targets. They call them SMART goals, like specific, measurable, a set of things that you're going to do every week towards your goal. Like when I'm writing a book, I'm always saying, if I can write one page a day, I'm closer to finishing my book. So having targets, developing relationships is really, really important. Call on people that you haven't called on in a number of years. You never know how their career is going and how they now can help you in what you're trying to accomplish.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Plan your work and work your plan. My aunt used to say that all the time. That sounds like a good place to plug in Goalie, which is my strategy planning guide, which absolutely is all about planning your work and then working your plan. So I love that. How can people connect with you, Dr. Jones? Where are you at? Are you on social media?
I am all over social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. If you put me in, I'll show up. I'm like the number. If you put me into Google, I pop up there as the very top person. So I can be found all over the place. I do have a website, which is www.Dr. That's Dr. Stephen Jones, StephenJones.net. You can buy the books through the website. And one of the new things I'm about to do is I am going to have an online course for each one of the books, so that parents all over the country, students, and those who want to find more scholarship money can do it electronically. And my goal is to have that finished by September.
Love it. Dr. Jones, thank you so much for being on the show today and sharing your journey. And thank you for all that you do, because what you do is important. For you, I want you to remember to be great at what you're great at, because the world deserves your greatness. Remember, in this game, there are no elevators, there are only stairs. You have been listening to Collette Portis on REAL-Eyez Destiny Radio. Have the most amazing day.
Next week on the REAL-Eyez Destiny Radio Show.
I don't care how good you are, how smart you are, how talented you are. You can't do it by yourself. There has to be other people that support you. And it could be, for me, it's always technology, because I know enough to be dangerous, but that's about it. So I have to reach out to someone. You have to stay very focused, because we are all shiny object people.
Until then, follow Collette on Instagram at Collette Portis and Tap the Mic Radio on Facebook. And don't forget to join the goalie movement. Are you ready to grow your team, increase your revenue, and build your legacy? Let Goalie guide you to success. Order your goalie bundle today at Amazon.com or ColettePortis.com. I'm Dorian J. This has been a Collette & Co. TMRN production.